Welcome to another episode. Welcome to another episode of Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. I am your man, Captain Will. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe to Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will so I continue to bring that gospel of Gamecocks every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, you're now rocking with the best. And since you're rocking with the best, come rock with your man, Captain Will. We got a good one today, y'all. I said we got a good one today, y'all. We are talking about the South Carolina women's basketball team taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. It is going down on tonight. It is going down tonight. We got a situation tonight in Alabama, and I can't wait to talk about it. So follow me on Instagram at Captain Will the OG. Follow me on Twitter at Gamecocks Talk, and of course, follow your man Captain Will on YouTube at Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will, so I can just continue to bring you that gospel of Gamecocks every single day. Before we get into it about South Carolina versus Alabama, I gotta say right now. All right, so today, obviously, South Carolina women's basketball team, the three-time national champions, are playing the Alabama Crimson Tide at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on SEC Network. That is going down. What else is going down? And what I need y'all to support, Captain Will, will be on the Paul Feinbaum Show today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, SEC Network. That ain't it, because right after that, Captain Will be on SEC Now on the SEC Network. Make sure y'all check all of it out as I bring the gospel of Gamecocks on the SEC Network. Oh, yeah, it's happening. It's about to go down today. It's about to go down today. They got Captain Will talking about South Carolina. They got South Carolina and Captain Will joining together on the SEC Network. So make sure y'all check all that stuff out. Now, back to the business at hand. South Carolina women's basketball team, the three-time national champions, 25-2. Terrific basketball team, 25-2, 11-1 in the conference, bringing that smoke, bringing it like nobody's business. Third in the net ranking, 12th in the strength of schedule. Been doing work this season. Work. Beat up on Southern California, 21st ranked. Remember that victory? Remember that victory? They were talking about who the real USC is. Well, we found out who that was. Beat up on Duke. Beat up on Louisville, Texas. Vanderbilt by 29 points. Tennessee by 43 points. And oh yeah, last Saturday, beat LSU women's basketball team by 7 points on last Saturday, Valentine's Day, February the 14th, and they still trying to find out, LSU, who can guard Tessa. They still trying to find out. They don't know. They still don't know. They don't know. South Carolina has been playing great basketball as we start closing the chapter. Start closing the chapter on this SEC regular season. As we start, we can't look ahead of nobody. No, let's be clear. We can't look ahead of nobody because we still got to finish this season, the regular season, on a high note. We don't need to lose no games. We got a nice little cushion to get another ring in the regular season, title. But we playing really good basketball. The SEC tournament is right around the corner. It is right around the corner, and we can almost taste it. We can almost feel it. We almost in Greenville. But we gotta finish this thing up in the regular season title, so we get a ring in the regular season. They get another ring in the SEC tournament. They get another ring in the NCAA tournament. Those are the things that South Carolina has to do. Those are the huge goals that Carolina has to do, and it all culminates. It all capitulates. It all regulates, and all those eights on tonight versus Alabama. I mentioned that we already played Alabama. Beat Alabama already. Beat Alabama before January the 1st. They were 14-0. Y'all remember 14-0, and they undefeated, and they're going to do all this, that, and third. They came over to the Colonial Life Arena and got whooped. They got whooped. South Carolina put the whooping on them. Took them to the woodshed, right behind Bojangles, and beat them. That's what happened when South Carolina played Alabama last time. Now, here's the deal. That basketball game, Joyce Edwards was unconscious. She was balling out. She was doing work in that basketball game. Had 23, 24, 25 points. She was killing it. And also in that basketball game, Tania Latson didn't even play. Remember that? Tania Latson not even playing that basketball game. Agot started, had about 9 points. Raven Johnson had 17 points, 7 for 10 from the field, did a lot of good things in that basketball game. And Alabama just had a difficult time. South Carolina shot over 50% from the field, was balling out. And we'll talk about how I think they're going to do versus Alabama in a few short minutes. But overall, this basketball team, as it currently states, I have to start with the defense of our team. I have to start with the defense. South Carolina is number 3 in defensive rating and number 2 in field goal percentage, averaging 34% allowed. Number 2 in 2-point percentage allowed. 10th in 3-point percentage allowed. This South Carolina team is amazing on the defensive end. You look at all the championships that Carolina's won. You look at the championships, and I'm talking about championships, I'm talking about national titles, I'm talking about regular season titles, I'm talking about all those good things that Carolina, when they got, it's been the case where Carolina has had an outstanding defense. That, in real talk, I believe that's how it's always going to be. I don't care how good our offense is. I don't care how many players we got that are getting in double figures. I don't care about any of those things. This team lives and dies with the defense. Lives and dies with the defense. If we top 2 in field goal percentage allowed and top 2 in 2-point percentage allowed, you're doing something right. This is and then this is not no scrub. South Carolina ain't playing no scrub. So when you're playing, number 12 ranked strength of schedule, you doing some things. You playing some teams. So for Carolina to be, top 2 in 2-point percentage allowed and field goal percentage allowed, that's special. And then you reel in like you out on the pond somewhere, and you talking about 10th and 3-point percentage allowed. Carolina's playing some defense. So we can talk about how great Tessa is in offense and tonight and Raven and Joyce and all these different players who's putting the ball in the basket. We also got to discuss how really, really good these young ladies are on the defensive end, because Cam Will is offense and there's defense. And there's offense. You got to stop somebody. Eventually, you got to stop somebody. And Carolina does a great job at stopping opponents. 5th in blocks per basketball game. And rebounding. Rebounding is such a big component to winning a championship. You got a basketball team in South Carolina that's 10th in total rebounding percentage. 10th in total rebound percentage. And we saw last year. We saw how we weren't a great rebounding basketball team. We were really good, but we weren't great. We weren't elite. South Carolina's really good at rebounding basketball now. Okay, so you could thank Madina on that. She brought some work that we wouldn't have before last season. So South Carolina defensively is right where it's supposed to be and only ascending, because here's the deal. I mentioned that when we played LSU, who didn't play? Who didn't play against LSU? Maddy didn't play. Well, Maddy's back versus Alabama. Maddy's back. And we go back to when we played Alabama previously. Maddy had about 25 minutes in that basketball game. Okay? I mentioned it tonight. We are almost there. We are almost ready. Everybody's almost injured reserve. Adhel is the only one. Adhel is the only player right now who is not ready to play. She's still nursing that ankle injury. Still got a boot, but we still got a little ways to go. Hopefully Adhel will be well and be ready to do some things. But we ready. We ready. Offensively, this basketball team, let's go. So you talking about South Carolina. I mentioned how great Carolina is, on the defensive side. Well, South Carolina really good on the offensive side too. So Carolina's number 4 in offensive rating, number 3 in defensive rating, 3rd in field goal percentage, 4th in 2-point percentage. You got a basketball team. Let me say this right here. You got a basketball team in South Carolina that's 12th in strength of schedule. Okay. You got the same basketball team that's 12th in strength of schedule that is number 3 in field goal percentage on the offensive side, number 4 in the 2-point percentage on the offensive side, number 2 on the defensive side in terms of defensive in terms of field goal percentage allowed, and also number 2 in 2-point percentage allowed. This basketball team is terrific, offensively and defensively. Not to mention that South Carolina is also 5th in the country in 3-point percentage, averaging 38% for the 3-point line. Terrific. And I got to talk about the free throws. South Carolina right now is up to 136 in free throw percentage, shooting 73%. There was a time not too long ago where South Carolina was in the 240s in terms of free throw percentage. Conference hit, and Carolina kept getting better and better and better. You got a basketball team that's 13th in the country in assists per basketball game, average about 18 assists per game. You got a basketball team 31st in fewest turnovers per game, averaging 13 turnovers per basketball game. What the key stat that I love, and y'all know it, y'all been rocking with Captain Will for a long time, assist to turnover ratio. Carolina's 14th in assist to turnover ratio. You have Raven Johnson. You have Maddy McDaniel. You have Tanaya Latson. You have so many different players on this basketball team that have a really good assist to turnover ratio, which equates to being South Carolina 14th in the country, being one of the top basketball teams in terms of assists to turnover ratio. I mentioned earlier about how really good we are in total rebounding percentage, being 10th in the country. We're 15th in the country in offensive rebounding basketball team. That is so good. So good. Now, if you move on and you look at Alabama basketball team, that is good. I'm not going to sit here in front. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say anything crazy that Alabama ain't what they ain't. Alabama, number 26 in the net ranking, 25th in the AP poll, 20-6, 6-6 in terms of, overall in the conference. They beat some good basketball teams. They beat Minnesota. They beat Clemson. They beat Kentucky. They beat, some solid basketball teams. But here's the problem. They ain't beat no South Carolina. So they got some work to do, but they ain't beat no South Carolina. In offense, they good. How can I say? They all right. They all right offensively. 40th in the country in terms of offense, 54th in field goal percentage, and 89th in 2-point percentage. But here's the deal with a team like Alabama. They are good in spaces. Okay, they're good in spaces. But they're not great at many things. But they give teams a problem because they're good. They 103rd in assists per basketball game. They average 14 assists per game. Assist turnover ratio. They just 74th in assist to turnover ratio. Offensive rebounding percentage, they bad. They're a bad offensive rebounding percentage team because they shoot a bunch of three-pointers. Now, that's the key thing with them. They shoot a really good percentage. They shoot 37%, which equates to number 14th in the country in terms of a three-point percentage. Ain't as good as South Carolina, because South Carolina number 5, shooting 38%. But so there's still levels to this. But they're gonna shoot a ton of them. First basketball game, I want to say they shot 31 three-pointers and they hit 9 of them. If my Marbury County math suits me right, I think that's what the case. They're gonna shoot a bunch of them. They're gonna miss some of them. South Carolina has to rebound the basketball and not allow them to get those offensive rebounds. Now, they're not a good offensive rebound team, and we are bigger, we're faster, and we're stronger. So that should not be a huge issue. South Carolina cannot. This is not an opportunity. This is not a chance. There's not a realm of possibility that we need to start, committing a bunch of turnovers, okay? Because they ain't going to commit a bunch of turnovers themselves. They average about 14 turnovers themselves, so they ain't going to get a bunch of them. So we got to take care of the ball ourselves. Now, against them that first time, we had less than 10 turnovers. We need to do the same thing. We need to have that same energy in terms of taking care of the basketball. This is a basketball team that we can exploit in many ways. And again, we have to be on top of our game. This is a away game for us. So Alabama, would they be lit? Is the crowd gonna be crazy? I don't know. This is Alabama. This ain't Texas. This ain't LSU. This ain't Tennessee. This is Alabama. It'll be some fans there. They'll be doing what they can do. You know what I'm saying? But they're gonna bring the energy they're gonna bring. But whatever energy their fan base brings, we gotta match it and supersede that. Defensively, they just okay. They 68th in defensive rating, 33rd in field goal percentage, 22nd in 2-point percentage. Now, you're talking about the field goal percentage and 2-point percentage. Those are two key metrics that they're very good at. Now, great thing is the Carolina, like I mentioned before, that we are excellent in field goal percentage and 2-point percentage on the offensive side. 3-point percentage allowed, they're 118th, averaging 30%. South Carolina should do very well and get those open threes. Now we just got to knock them down. Steals per game, they ain't going to get many steals per game. They're not going to do that. Blocks per game, they're 14th in the country. They get several blocks. Matter of fact, when we played them the last time, they had more blocks than we did. Defensive rebounding percentage, okay. Overall, in total rebounding percentage, you got a basketball team in Alabama that's 77th in total rebounding percentage. We should win the rebounding edge. We were plus 13, plus 14 in rebounds the first time we played Alabama. We need to do the same things versus Alabama that we did the last time. If you look at the standout players for this basketball team, you have to start Jessica Timmons. Jessica Timmons leading the basketball team in scoring 33 minutes, 17 points, 42% from the field on 13 attempts, shooting 39% from three. She is their bucket getter. Also shooting 89% from the free throw line. She's gonna do her work. And the stats I just talked about, that's in conference. That ain't in non-conference. That is against the Rudy Pooks and the junior college teams that some basketball teams play during non-conference. This is a conference play in the best conference in the country. She's getting you 17, 5, and 2. Offensive rating 109.1, a defensive rating 102.4. She is their bucket getter. Is she their best player? I don't know, because Carly Weathers is nice too. I really like Mr. Carly Weathers. Now for the conference, Carly Weathers, 36 minutes, giving you about 11 points, 6 rebounds, shooting close to 40% from three, close to 50% from the field. She is a very solid player. Net in terms of the overall net rating, she has better analytically good stats. Than Jessica Timmons. Jessica Timmons just is a more of a bucket getter. Carly Weathers is a better, should I even say this? I think Carly Weathers is a better overall basketball player than Jessica Timmons. But it's neck and neck. It's really neck and neck. Tamia Scott, 29 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds, another solid shooter. They are going to shoot the three multiple times. Weathers average about 5 attempts per basketball game. Timmons average about 6 attempts per basketball game. Scott average about 4 attempts per basketball game. They are going to shoot it a lot. We have to defend them on the 3-point line. Now, here's the problem that Alabama has dealing with the South Carolina women's basketball team. We got some ballers on the offensive side. Just be clear. We got some players that are playing on a different level right now in terms of SEC play. This South Carolina basketball team is locked in offensively. I can start anywhere talking about how we've been so dominant in conference play. I can start anywhere. And the players that's really been, playing tremendous. But if we start with the first player who's been doing the best in terms of conference play, and a player that I got to watch them, I got my key eyes on tonight, is Raven Johnson. Raven Johnson in conference play has been sensational. Unbelievable. You're talking a basketball player, Raven Johnson, been averaging in conference play 12 points, shooting 50% from the field, shooting close to 40% from the three-point line, shooting close to 90% from the free throw line, getting you 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, almost 2 steals. Offensive rating off the chain, over 120. Defensive rating, almost 83.3. She's been playing outstanding. And I'm seeing a whole, and again, we getting closer to the end of the season, so you're going to see a whole lot of player of the year this and first team this and all these different things. All I got to say is make sure if you are a voter for any of these lists, for any of these teams, make sure you look at the level of competition these young ladies played against, and you compare those really good basketball teams, and you look at those stats. Don't look at the stats that don't matter in those non-conference games against very poor basketball teams, because in the SEC, it's easy. It ain't even rocket science. It is so easy because the only thing you got to do is just look at SEC play, because everybody got to play each other. So you get a great stat. In SEC play, you can say that Raven Johnson has been playing as good as anybody in the conference, okay? Raven Hollywood Johnson. Joyce Edwards, 31 minutes in conference play, averaging close to 20 points, 7 rebounds, shooting, close to 80% from the free throw line in conference play. She's been playing outstanding. And I see a whole lot of this with Joyce on there, and that is so well-deserved because she has been the truth. She is playing so far out of her classification because sometimes we forget that Joyce Edwards is only a sophomore. We still got 2 more years. We still got 2 more years of Joyce Edwards putting in work, and she's been killing it for the South Carolina women's basketball team, averaging 3 assists now, 2 steals, 1 block. Her turnovers are going down. It's so great. And the next play I'm talking about, and this is Kim Mulkey's favorite, and that's Tessa Johnson. Tessa Johnson, 28 minutes, 14 points, shooting 45% from field, shooting 45% from three. And this is the SEC play, okay? 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. Tessa Johnson has been playing top-notch basketball in the SEC. She has been tremendous, and the question will always be, who gonna guard Tessa? Every single time for the rest of the season, because she is top 3 in the country overall, cumulative, in shooting that 3. She is terrific. And here's the cool thing about Tessa Johnson. Tessa really good defensively, too. You got a lot of basketball players who can put the ball in the bucket who can't guard nobody. I'm 50 years old, and you got some of these, they can't guard me. But you talk about how good these players are. How good they are. Okay. Tessa is the truth. Put some respect on Tessa Johnson's name, and I think that's going to continue. I really think. I think that we played that South Carolina played LSU on last Saturday night, and the numbers were awesome on Valentine's Day. Numbers would have been a little bit more if they, didn't play on Saturday night, Valentine's Day. But it is what it is. It is. We had it was the most watched game on ESPN since 2010. Most watched game this season. Those numbers are great. But it's going to be more later on in the season. But anyway, it was a great spotlight. And a lot of folks who just think about Tessa Johnson, that's tournament Tessa, oh, hell no. Tessa Johnson is all year long Tessa. Now, in terms of prediction, we won by 26 points last time. Do I think we're going to win by 26 points against Alabama on tonight? Maybe not 26 points. Maybe not. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice tonight. I'm really going to be nice tonight. I ain't going to say 26 points tonight. I'd say South Carolina win by 18. Carolina wins by 18 points. Tonight, Latson, who I didn't even talk about in terms of how great she's been, so far in conference play, because she's been in and out of the lineup in conference. But for the whole season, she's been really good. I think she's going to play well on tonight. She didn't play well versus LSU, but I think she's going to have a get-right game tonight. I think Madina's going to come out and ball out and continue her stellar play. I think we're just going to be, we're too big, we're too fast, we're too physical, we're too smart, we shoot too good. It's all those great things that Alabama cannot deal with. South Carolina wins tonight's basketball game versus Alabama by at least 15 points and continue their march to another regular season title. With that being said, this includes another episode of Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. I am your man, Captain Will. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe to Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will so I continue to bring you that gospel of Gamecocks every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now rocking with the best. And since you're rocking with the best, come rock with your man, Captain Will.